unicorns are real, why are they the national animal of Scotland? Because they're real, duh. If unicorns are real, why do you need a permit to hold one in Michigan? Because people were catching unicorns, duh. If unicorns are real, why did a unicorn convince Genghis Khan not to conquer India? Because unicorns are magic and real, duh.
Heyo, and welcome to No Dunks, a basketball podcast on the Athletic Podcast Network. I'm your host for today, Trey Kirby, and joining me in a Nassau facility, it's Tass Mellis.
How about that Canadian hockey team, eh?
Hey. We also got the man making the space travel happen. It's JD.
Whoops, hello.
There he
Hey.
is. There he is. And still paying off his pick'em loss after he was sucked into a wormhole. It's JD Skeets.
Yes. What's up, gentlemen? I have a very important question here today.
Let's go.
I want to know how the corn's doing. How's my corn?
We're still battling the blight, unfortunately.
Okay.
Is blight something that only happens to crops?
I don't know. It's a cool word, though. Yeah.
Blight.
Yeah.
I also like typing sucked into a wormhole. It's a crazy phrase.
Sure.
If you're watching here on YouTube, you get to see Skeets' face stuck in a Tesseract. If you're listening later on a podcast, that's also cool. But maybe you want to see this guy's beautiful face. Maybe not. We'll see. Busy night in the association last night. Busy night for Wedgie Tracker. We got two of them. Oh, numbers 29 and 30 on the season. We got an alley-oop Wedgie, Franz Wagner to Wendell Carter Jr. sticks it.
That's a unique one.
Very unique. What'd you say, Skeets? Maybe the seventh?
It's our seventh alley-oop wedgie ever, tracked at least by
Not
us.
bad. These ones more common, though. Desmond Bane sticking the corner three deep. Wedged.
Yeah.
Who tried that? Airplane mode. Derek Jones Jr. went for it. Couldn't even knock it out. We're on pace for 50. It's been a good February for
Yeah.
wedgies.
Yes, it has.
Really good.
Sparked. In February.
Okay. Sparked.
Yeah.
In February. All
Yeah.
30 teams played last night, so we're drafting games.
Yeah, let's do it.
We are drafting games.
Oh my God, there's a lot to pick from.
Oh, there are a lot. 15 games. 30 divided by 2, 15 makes sense. Reverse lottery. Tass has the worst pick'em record going right now, so we got the number one pick. Exciting for you. Where are you
Thank
going,
you.
Tass?
Well, I'm going with Jamal Murray and his career high 55. Also, the Nuggets' 8th straight victory. We got to talk about this team. I thought it was going to be Nikola Jokic's night. It was Serbian Heritage Night in Denver. They got a bobblehead of Nikola Jokic, but this is all about Jamal Murray. And the thing that stands out to me is how they're not going to that standard pick and roll that won them a championship with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray working it together. Now, of course, he's still using Jokic. If he's at the elbow, throw it to him, two men go to him, I'll flare, I'll get the ball, three-point shot. Or I'll flare, off-ball screen, I'll go to the corner. Or then when I'm feeling it, I don't even need to give you the ball, Jokic. I'll just fire away. He scored 30 in the first half. He was asking the fans in Denver, he's pulling a Hulk Hogan. Can I hear you? Can I hear you? Because then the second half, he just kept going in many different ways. Fast break, Jamal Murray. In the post, going up and under Jamal Murray. Coming down the floor, 2 picks set for him, just stepping into his own 3, Jamal Murray. He looked like a different guy. Pinned down screens, everything. His line, 55 points on 36 shots, 7 of 15 from 3. Calvin Booth and the Denver Nuggets front office, you did it. I didn't expect this to happen after you signed him to the extension this offseason. And for him to start off slowly, as Jamal Murray does, basically the numbers are back to what they were last year, essentially. Very, very close to that. This guy looking like he's going to be the best NBA player ever to not make an all-star team. Now, he's still young. But he's still doing it. He could still make one, but he's been hot. 53% shooting in February coming into this game. He's sparking like wedgies. No Westbrook, no Michael Porter, no Aaron Gordon, no Peyton Watson, so we had to do a little bit more, but we need to start just to give these Nuggets some props because they're going up. Very close to that second seed in the Western Conference. This could be the team that's just below OKC. So, a little respect for this team flying right now.
You won't like Jamal Murray when he's angry. That's what happened here against the Blazers. He was pissed off that he got tossed the game before against them. You know, they were talking a lot of trash in that game, got the 2 techs. He got ejected, and I think he came out with that on his mind. Get a little revenge here for that and just handed it to the Blazers. Yeah, just the 3rd Nuggets player in franchise history to score 55 or more. David Thompson 73-point game in 78. That's the franchise record. And then Jokic had a 56-point game back in December of this season. So that's pretty cool, too. We got Murray and Jokic both with 55-point games this year. That's only happened like a handful of times in NBA history. I don't know if you want the trivia. It's early in the show, but...
No, keep it coming. I thought you were going to hit us with the Canadian record factoid.
Well, we know that. Yeah, I mean, SGA just took it, and then Jamal Murray got it right back, so I love that. But yeah, duos to score 55 or more in the same season. Can you name them?
Duos?
Yeah.
Let me toss a little Kyrie Irving out there and LeBron James.
No, wrong one.
Kyrie and Luka?
No.
Kyrie and KD.
Yes, Kyrie and KD did it.
A lot of different guys.
21, 22 nets. Okay, I'll give you It's an 80s legendary team.
The Lakers?
No, other one.
Celtics.
Yeah, who?
55s.
Larry and Kevin?
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
Kevin McHale. That did surprise me a little bit. Larry Bird and Kevin McHale. And then you got to go to the 60s for the other franchise that you named already.
You're talking to Jerry and Elgin?
Yeah! Good job. So now Jokic and Murray join that list, which is pretty amazing.
Not bad.
And it's cute. They're 1 point apart. The guy who the team relies on a little bit more has the higher one with 56. Yeah. I didn't expect Jamal Murray to I don't know, he could score 60 if he wanted to.
Yes. Yes.
On a hot shooting
Oh my
night,
God.
absolutely.
He's
Yeah.
unstoppable when he's going.
Yeah, this is only 36 shots. So if he wanted to shoot 40 times, bang, bang, you got it, man.
True. I mean, 36, definitely a lot
lot
of
of
attempts.
shots.
It's just too bad that Jokic couldn't have a good game on his bobblehead night. Just 26 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. Barely getting a mention here.
Yeah.
But you said Jamal Murray's playing like a different guy. He's playing like young Jamal Murray out there. Since January 1st, 22 points a game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. He's knocking on the door of 50, 40, 90. I got depth concerns for the Nuggets. I got defense concerns a little bit for the Nuggets as well. But if Murray's playing like this, they're still title contenders. He's gliding out there. Incredible confidence from Jamal Murray. You guys got anything else on this one, or should we go to the next draft pick, Skeets? I think you're on the clock.
Yeah, let's go to me here next. Number 2 pick overall. Tons to pick from. I will take a very entertaining game with Jalen Brunson hitting the late dagger, Cats scoring 44, Knicks beating the Hawks, Sad Kaka, 149-148. In overtime. What is this, Joe Dumars, an all-star game? Holy moly. Nearly 300 points, the highest scoring game of the season, but one of the wildest games, especially if you caught the end of regulation. The Knicks shouldn't have had to play that extra 5 minutes of overtime. They were up 6 points with about 18 seconds to go in regulation, and you saw fans, they were exiting the Garden. They're like, all right, let's get on the Metro, let's get home. But George Niang hit a 3. Okay, that happens. Cut the deficit in half. But you got the ball. You're still the Knicks. Just play the free throw game. Towns throws an errant pass, though, on the ensuing inbounds play. Daniels gets the steal under the basket. He gets fouled. Okay. That's okay, though. We're up 3. He makes his first free throw. And then that, cuts the lead to 2. And then he misses the second. But they get the rebound. He gets the rebound. It finds its way to Trae Young, and he gets fouled, goes to line, hits 2, and suddenly it's a tie game, and suddenly we're in overtime, which is just wild that they got there. Entertaining overtime, though, which isn't always the case, right? You play these games 48 minutes, everybody's a little tired. More times than not, you sort of get these little slugfests in overtime, but it was a 12-11 overtime, and Jalen Brunson hit a beautiful shot on Daniels, too, obviously matched up top. Got into his bounce, got his rhythm, and then hit that jumper. And then they survived, a last-second heave from Niang in the corner. Good defense by Bridges on Trae Young. Somehow it stayed in Trae's hands, got it to the minivan in the corner, and he sort of short-armed it. And, otherwise they would have got the victory there, which would have been even crazier. But an entertaining game as they head into the All-Star break, Tass.
Yeah, quiet cat 44. No big deal.
Yeah.
But we are talking about Jalen Brunson because he sealed it. And because Trae Young walks into the arena with the "Sorry, I'm an all-star" jacket. Sweater. It was more of a sweater. And then he banged home that 3 close to the Knicks logo with 5 minutes left, trying to take the headlines, the highlights. But, yeah, I'm surprised the Knicks didn't close this out in regulation, and all their starters had to play 45, 46, 47 minutes in a classic Tibbs.
That's all right. They get a week off now.
Yeah, they do.
Well, some of them do. I guess some are playing in an All-Star game.
Yes.
Taxing. An All-Star game that's going to take like 10 minutes to play.
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine. 38-19 for Trae Young.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's an All-Star. That's awesome. There was just massive lines throughout the association last night. What a great random rivalry we have, though, between the Hawks and the Knicks, especially in Madison Square Garden. It feels like we're always going to get good games. But, man, Brunson, he should be the clutch player of the year, I do believe. believe, and it's a masterclass from him every single time in these fourth quarters and these overtimes. I feel like last night was a little bit different, though, because to me, he's trying to get into the lane for the most part in these clutch situations. Last night, it was all jumpers. So that was interesting to see as well.
I do like that we were just recently, not arguing, but we were debating if you're doing like your top 5 MVP picks, which Knicks player sort of makes the cut, right? And we were like, one of us, we were making the case for Cat, obviously, and then we were making the case for Brunson because he's sort of the closer, the captain, both important. And it's sort of funny that, now Cat's have 2 40-point games in a row. This was following up the other one he had the other night. But Brunson, it feels like they don't win a lot of these games without him. So it's a great problem to have, I guess, if you're debating, hey, which one of our guys is in the top 5 MVP vote?
Yeah, probably first 46 minutes is Karl Anthony Towns, last 2 minutes is Jalen Brunson. Last thing I had for this game, watching George Niang play, I think one of us will run into him on the Beltline at some point.
Oh,
seems like a guy that would go to Lady Bird.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I love that, especially with the weather getting a little nicer. Oh, one more sequence, one more insane sequence I hope you guys saw in this game. It was near the end of the first quarter. The Hawks missed 6 straight shots, but they grabbed 5 offensive rebounds. But on those shots, I swear 4 or 5 of them didn't hit the rim. They were hitting the side of the backboard on like little sort of follow-ups, were just completely missing the rim. It was an insane sequence that ended in a foul, but just something very rare. I think our guy, Dominic Barlow, started it off with a clanked 3 in the corner off the side of the backboard. But man, they kept grabbing the board as well.
Yeah, and the Warriors did that too, a side backboard, just a nice bounce. And George Niang didn't get a good bounce. He just missed that 3-pointer at the end of overtime, but we will see him on the belt line like we saw Miles Plumlee that one time. It wasn't on the belt line specifically, but while we were having a wine taster, he was just out there walking by. That's Miles Plumlee.
I recently saw Channing Frye on the belt line. I don't know if that counts. I said, what's up?
I think Chandler Parsons has been cited on the belt line.
Yeah.
Once upon a time. George Niang fits right in.
Oh, yeah.
A guy that could just pass for a normal dude.
Oh, absolutely.
Walking down. You think he has a dog? It's like you walking a dog on the belt line. That surprised me, man.
Yeah, that was
really
surprised me too. George, what would George call his dog? What would George Niang?
I got
Young
nothing.
Bark. I don't know.
Young Bark.
I don't know why he would call him that. But
Astro, like the Astro van, the Chevy Astro van.
That's right.
Nice.
That's a good name for a dog.
Yeah.
There you go.
Beautiful stuff. I got the number 3 pick, and I'm going to Dallas, where basically no tall guys played in this game. Quentin Post, he's a 7-footer. He played 12 minutes, only I think 2 in the second half. But everybody else between the Mavericks and the Warriors, 6'9" and under, mostly due to the Mavericks' injuries. So the Warriors kind of went small to match them. Kyrie Irving, though, was the best player on the court in this game. 42 points, 7 threes, 7 rebounds, 0 assists. Love it. He only had 2 potential assists. Every time he was getting off the ball, it was a trap, and maybe it would find his way back to him. But basically, Kyrie was out there to score because the Mavericks needed offense. He had 13 in the third quarter, really took over the game, then 14 in the fourth quarter. I thought he was a little more paced in that one, but the last 6 points Kyrie scored in the fourth all gave the Mavericks the lead. That being said, I thought the others really pulled them over the line. Najee Marshall had pretty much the game winner. He scored 10 points, had a little floater with 25 seconds left after the Warriors were leaving him open for the entirety of the fourth quarter. He was passing up shots, but this time they left him open. He drove, made a play, floated it in. Great stuff. Max Christie had another good game. This guy's been playing awesome since the trade. 17 points, 5 boards, 4 assists for Christie last night. He scored 15 or more in all 5 of these games for the Mavericks. 51% from the field, 55 from 3. Looks like a real player. He was a big part of the Lakers turnaround as well. And then I love to see College Park Skyhawks legend Brandon Williams closing this game instead of Spencer Dinwiddie. 12 points for Brandon Williams, a couple of threes, and he was their secondary ball handler, basically instead of Dinwiddie. And the Warriors really just couldn't keep the guards in front of them in the fourth quarter. So nice win for the Mavs to get a W with none of their big guys there. Now they go into the All-Star break, and they just hope one of these guys can get a little bit healthy enough to play when we come back.
It was absolutely so impressive from the others. Yeah, Najee Marshall's in that corner. They were leaving him open. He didn't want to shoot it, but he's good at driving from the corner, looping to the rim every single time. You mentioned Max Christie hitting 2 clutch free throws at the end. He looks like a vet. He's 22 years old. He's a vet. He's got the clutch gene, as Clay went up to him after the game in his post-game interview. Clutch gene. The guy acts like an old player, and he was a huge part of this trade. I couldn't believe that they were able to come out with this victory because the Warriors' size just got them offensive board after offensive board. 18 offensive boards. Jimmy Butler's doing a lot of it. 6 of them in the fourth quarter were huge. 33-11 in second chance points for the Golden State Warriors. So you think they're going to win. But the others have been huge since the Anthony Davis trade.
Yeah.
They really have.
Yeah. It was a good night for the injury replacements, wasn't it? Kyrie, Trae Young. Obviously, Kyrie gets the victory. And I felt vindicated. Thank you for bringing up Brandon Williams. I remember a couple of years ago saying, why is this guy not in the league? I mean, we watch a lot of basketball. It's like this guy could have a chance here as a backup guard. So it's cool to see him get an opportunity and take advantage of it. The Skyhawks legend, as you called him. I remember watching him up close and personal. Like, this guy can play. But that's the funny part. Like, all these guys can. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
when you go to a G League game, you're like, why is this guy not in the league? Well, there's a lot of those type of guys. But it's cool that he came through at least.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Mavericks kind of have 3 of those guys. One of them is Brandon Williams, Spencer Dinwiddie a little bit bigger, Jaden Hardy, essentially the same guy as Brandon Williams, but he was playing pretty well, made a couple of clutch free throws, which Steph Curry unfortunately did not. Missed his first fourth quarter free throw of the season, which would have given the Warriors the lead with 37 seconds left. I thought they were going to win it. Kyrie maybe got a little bit of a gift on the reach-in, rip-through foul, but, I think people were happy for the Mavericks to get a win because it seemed like a good environment in there. I heard there was no fans on the Jumbotron, but it seemed positive throughout for Dallas, which hasn't necessarily been the case for the past week and a half.
Like nobody got tossed that we know of last night. Oh, that's good.
Nobody got tossed. And did Jason Kidd do post-game press? Probably. They won.
He did.
And he actually commented on why he didn't do post-game press conference the other day.
Yeah, he said I didn't want to answer the questions. They would have been hard. Great accountability.
Yeah. After the third quarter, he basically he was also doing the interview. He also said, Kyrie's good. We're going to need him again. Kyrie's good. We're going to need essentially. And Kyrie obviously came through. And his defense on Curry, I thought, they were kind of almost doubling him, just watching him with 4 eyes, and that allowed for other opportunities for the Golden State Warriors. Did that throw off Curry in the end? I probably not. He still hit that corner 3. Did that make him miss his free throw? I don't know. I thought that's why the Warriors were going to win, because there's other opportunities for other guys, and that's when Jimmy was great and with those 11 fourth quarter points for him. But this team keeps coming through. Kessler Edwards had 6 assists. Omax had 6 assists.
Yeah.
These guys are
big
deep.
night for Canadian boys, man.
Deep. Olivier.
That's right.
Maxence.
Prosper.
You got to say it like that.
Yep.
I can't say it like that. I don't have the natural French tongue. All right, let's go to pick number 4. Tass, you're up.
Yeah, I'm going with the OKC Thunder over the Heat. You might think, boring. So what? They beat the Miami Heat. Well, I think they did this in a championship type of way because I turned in to watch a Wiggins battle. I thought we were going to get Aaron versus Andrew. That did not happen. I just watched the Heat scorching. Yeah. They were scorching OKC. 61% from the floor in the first quarter, 56% from the second quarter. They're up double digits going into the fourth. But this is how a championship team comes back. OKC went on a 24-0 run to start the fourth quarter. Let me give you the possessions to start the fourth quarter.
Please
Shea brings up the ball. He has it at the three-point line. Double comes, 1 pass away. Lou Dort, 3, bang. Shea comes up for a pull-up 3. Nasty on that next possession. You don't see that very often from him. Shea in the corner, kind of fronting him a little. Backdoor cut, bucket. Dortcher Chamber on the defensive end. He steals it. It's a one-man fast break for Dort. 10-0. We're all tied up. Then Shea brings it up, step back on Highsmith, nasty for a 3. Finally, OKC messes up his position. They miss. Shea walks into here on the next possession into the elbow, fade, OKC up 5. Then a Joe 3, then a Dort miss 3. The Heat still haven't scored yet. Shea steal brings it up. Pass to Mudflap Kenrich Williams for a 3. OKC up 11. The Heat still haven't scored yet. The Shea uses a pick and roll to take the ball out of the Heat's hands there to Joe. Or excuse me, the Heat took it out of Shea's hands. He passes it to Joe, up 14. Then the Heat finally scores. So that's a 24-0 run. Miami didn't score for nearly the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. That's OKC championship ball. That's Warriors-esque. That's what the OKC does. When they have a deficit in the second half, which happens quite often, they kick ass with their depth. They did it again. So you could look at it as kind of a boring game, but that 24-0 run is real championship type stuff.
Yeah, I think that was the first 24-0 run in the NBA since Minnesota came back against Denver in the fourth quarter of Game 7 in last year's playoffs. It looked like the 2001 Sixers to me. Everybody was playing defense, and then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the Allen Iverson doing everything on offense. If he wasn't scoring, he was assisting, and if he wasn't assisting, he was making the secondary assist after getting doubled. Pretty sweet stuff from the Thunder, and the Heat just completely disappeared. The 10-0 run to start the fourth quarter was in like a minute and a half, and you could tell the Heat were like, uh-oh. It's tied, but this game is over somehow. So incredible win for the Thunder to somehow turn this into a blowout.
Whenever there's a run like that, I always picture some Heat fan at home watching the game, end of the third quarter, is like, hell yeah, we are rolling, 10-point lead. Let me just get a quick piss in here, Let me grab a quick snack. And by the time this person is back to the TV, they're down by 5. Like you said, it was over. The lead was gone in the blink of an eye, and they must have been like, what the hell just happened? So, the Thunder are awesome. The more and more and more you watch them, I get more and more convinced they're going to the finals at the very least out of the West. They're just so damn good, but that's a long time
exactly. Away. I think it would be a disappointing season for the Thunder at this point if they lose in the Western Conference playoffs. Who knows what happens in the finals, but they should be a massive favorite.
Yep, I agree.
Totally. And I thought, again, we'd see more Wiggins because now OKC has won 7 in a row. Aaron Wiggins in those first 6 games for OKC was blasting hot. 23 points on 58 from the floor, 49% from 3, and a real good free throw shooter at 92%. While Andrew Wiggins was balling the last time he played OKC. He was a member of Golden State. He had 27 points, but it was kind of quiet from both of them, so that was a little surprising. But it is cool to see Davion Mitchell on the Miami Heat. He's their new Gabe Vincent.
Yep.
He's so good at it.
He is.
He is. He's good at doing that.
Everybody was calling that. Wait till he gets on the Heat. Watch what Spo will get out of this guy.
Yeah.
And it's already coming true. It's amazing.
He was big for them.
Yep.
Yeah, slow start for Wiggins, Andrew in Miami so far. 24 points on 7 of 24 shooting. And a 13 and 11. Trying to find his spot. You mentioned snacks, Skeets. You got any snacks back there in the Tesseract?
No, I do not.
Oh, you don't have that freeze-dried ice cream?
No, I do have black coffee here in this black hole, but that's it.
All right, give us a number 5 pick, Skeets.
Yeah, number 5 pick. I'll make this fairly quick. Give me Kawhi scoring 25 as the Clippers sort of crushed the Grizzlies, 128-114. We sort of called this one too. Schedule loss, it sure looked like. Clippers sort of rested Grizzlies on the back-to-back. No John Morant for the Grizz, but Kawhi played a season-high 34 minutes.
Oh, baby.
3 of his 30-minute games have come in the last week. So that's, ramping up those minutes for Kawhi. But, man, Memphis committed 22 turnovers in this game that led to 41 Clipper points. Chris Dunn, 5 steals. Kawhi, 3 steals. Zubats, 3 steals. And I've mentioned this before. Chris Dunn should be getting a little more love for an all-defensive selection, maybe second team or something like that. He was all over the place. He picked Luke Kennard's pocket on the second possession of the game. Then he picked up a loose ball off a bad Kennard pass because he pressured him, and he sort of panicked. He was trying to get it to Edey. He picked off that one. Later in the second half, Dunn poked away one from Triple J. He got switched up onto him up top. Boop. He's got such sneaky long arms, this guy, so he poked that one away, and then he added 2 more steals in the second half, including one that he read like a safety or a cornerback where the ball was in the corner, he's up top, and he knew where it was going. He was just waiting for it to be passed up top. He jumped the passing lane, took it the other way, and then very unselfishly could have had the layup. He saw Kawhi trailing. He said, "Here, sir, you take these 2 points," and handed it off to him. So I just love what he's doing for them. Clippers have the 3rd best defense in the league, and that's with Kawhi playing 15 games this year. That's with James Harden in your starting lineup. That's impressive. So that was good. Bogdanovich played. Hit a couple shots. He hit 1 3. I think he went 3 for 4. So he's there. Ben Simmons waved to the crowd.
I thought you meant he was cut.
No, he was in it. No. He waved with his hand to the crowd from the bench, and he might play tonight. I would assume he would because you have some teams playing on this strange back-to-back before the All-Star break. So I think we'll see a little Ben Simmons tonight. But yeah, Clips just took care of business.
Absolutely. Can we get a report on Chris Dunn falling into the front row? It looks like he got some nacho cheese on his shorts.
He did.
He's like, stop, equipment man. I got some stuff here.
Yeah.
But Number one, I thought it's an Intuit Dome. I thought they'd be too good for nacho cheese. I don't know, in a new arena, like you know.
Maybe it's got gold flakes in it.
Maybe, yeah. It was like greeny red though. Maybe it was. No, you know, just the crappy processed cheese. I thought it'd be a level up.
Oh.
Yeah. But either way. And then I just want to comment on John Morant's big hat, because as I lose the pick'em payoff here in February, I'm terrible. We have been looking at large hats for the loser to wear.
Sure.
And that was a monster Louis Vuitton hat. Now, I don't think we're buying a Louis Vuitton hat. But we've been looking at weird hats, like Jaden Smith at the Grammys.
Yeah, the castle hat.
The castle hat.
Yeah. We got some.
Louis, this one's not too big, but this, I mean, it's big on the price, I would say. It's a checkered. I'm just.
I was at first. I was looking up to see how many steals is the most steals in the league, because 17 is a lot. But now I'm more interested in seeing this gigantic hat.
Yeah, I'm making it out to be bigger.
Later.
Although you mentioned Kawhi playing his season high, and I had to look because I thought he played 33 minutes last week. It was 18 seconds fewer last week, so now he's moving it up. And this is the first time that Kawhi has sat out November and January in this way on purpose to slowly get better. And so you're seeing that. And it is 2 months away, so get ready for us saying, we'll see how many minutes they're going to play in the playoffs, because that is important stuff.
James Harden also moved past Hakeem Olajuwon into sole possession of 13th place on the NBA's all-time scoring list. Almost 27,000 points for James. Yeah, I mean, he just passed Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, I guess Hakeem must have been like close to top 10 by the time he retired.
Yeah, a lot of people have jumped
past him.
Yeah.
2 questions. Number one, Skeets, you sound like a guy who's buying into the Clippers.
No, I just wanted to draft the Clippers and try and not show my bias to them definitely flaming out in the playoffs, which eventually will happen. No, they we talked a lot about the Grizzlies being, near the top of the Western Conference standings, and I do think it was a schedule loss to some extent, but the Clips impressed me. I watched a good chunk of this one being one of the later games.
Yeah, they went on a similar run about this time last year, so fair enough to be skeptical. My number 2 question was, do you think that nacho cheese on shorts should be something that infectious control handles? What if it gets moldy? Just go ahead and think on that one for a little bit.
I'll think on that one.
I'll come back to you later because it's important to get into it. The number 6 pick, I'm going with the Rockets coming back to beat the Suns. Rockets have been in a little bit of a tailspin here. They'd lost 6 straight before beating the Raptors on Sunday, so a good comeback win for them. Trailed heading into the fourth quarter. They rode Alperen Şengün to tie the game. He had 10 points in the fourth, but then they finished off the Suns with an 11-2 run after Dillon Brooks won a duel with Kevin Durant. Unbelievable. 2:30 left. Kevin Durant dunks to get Phoenix within 3. Dillon Brooks comes back, 3 in the face. KD then misses a couple of times, and Brooks hits another 3 to put Houston up 9. KD then hits his own 3, a turnover by Houston, and another 3-pointer for Kevin Durant. Houston now up by 4. Dillon Brooks gets fouled. He makes the 2 free throws to ice it. Great stuff for the Rockets to get a win. Sometimes it feels like their clutch wins are on accident. I'm talking about even when Fred VanVleet is back. He didn't play in this one, but, same thing with Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. They're going to be taking the big shots for the Rockets. When they go in, they win. They don't always go in because these guys are both very streaky shooters, but Brooks had it going, and he was, obviously talking trash back and forth with Kevin Durant, which was pretty fun to see. I also want to give a little bit of love to Reed Shepherd. Only 5 points last night, played 11 minutes, 5 points, a 3-pointer, an assist, a rebound, and a steal. The guy's averaging 1.5 stocks per game in 7 February games. It sounds ridiculous, but it's his first real run here. He's going to be playing for the G League in the Rising Stars game. The hype for him coming into the season was he's going to be a great shooter. He has not yet been a great shooter. But the second thing was he'll be a disruptive defender, and I think that's actually accurate. He fits in alongside your Amen Thompson, who had a triple-double in this one, Tari Eason, who's very active defensively as well. And it looks like Reed Shepherd will be able to wreak a little bit of havoc as a defender. Who knows what he turns into in his career, but it's nice to see him having an impact, I think, for Houston.
Are you saying Reed Shepherd may have won Rookie of the Year last night?
Are you saying that?
I hope not.
He might. He's still got a chance to make second-team All-Rookie. It's not over.
Yeah, as I watch Dalton Connect come back for the Los Angeles Lakers, making his first appearance since being not traded to the Charlotte Hornets, I think Who knows? Who knows if you have a good 30 games here at the end of the season? Maybe. But yeah, it's unlikely for Reed, but it is good to see him get minutes. But you mentioned the guys at the end of the fourth quarter who are going to shoot in the playoffs. It is it's Dylan Brooks. And of course it is Fred when he comes back. Mm-hmm. So this is a super young team, but they are going to rely on those two oldies to hit those shots. That's what it is going to come down to. And then obviously Şengün and Jalen Green and Amen Thompson will get their bits. But this team is good going into the fourth quarter, and they can't seem to close it every single time. It's up to those guys.
Yeah, it was good. They had the Phoenix Suns on the calendar. Playing them, they needed that victory, like you said. The Rockets, they got it. And I had somebody text me the other day because we were talking about how just depressing the Suns and Sixers are as teams right now. And they were like, I guess they recently just started watching games the other night. Hadn't watched a lot of basketball, they admitted, this season. So they watched the Suns play and they watched the Sixers play. And they were like, oh my God, this is horrible. And so they agreed, like they are vibeless. What is going on? They almost turned it off, they said. But so it's confirmed that what we are seeing from those teams, even the casuals are like, oh yeah, what's going on with those two teams? Why do they suck? Why do they hate each other?
I don't think they play each other anymore this year, unfortunately.
Oh. A vibeless off.
Yeah. Anti-vibes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got an answer about the nacho cheese?
No, I'm still thinking about it.
Well, let me know when you've finished running the calculations. For now, we'll hear Tass's number 7 pick.
Oh, wow. I'm going with the Cleveland Cavaliers going into Toronto. Now, you may say, oh, come on. Of course the Cavs are going to win. But this felt like a trap game, number one. Number two, they said, DeAndre Hunter, you're going back to the bench. We're playing Max Strus over you. I know we just traded for you.
Smart.
And, of course, we are trying to get better defensively. Our 8th-ranked defense needs to get better. Our number 1 offense is pretty good. So do we need Max Strus in the starting lineup? Well, I think they are still trying to improve their defense, but they're still wanting to do it a bit slower. They still want to communicate. All they do is talk about communicating, and I think they just want to improve their starting lineup, and then they'll do it slowly. And Max Strus came into the starting lineup, back to his role, and he banged home shot after shot after shot, 3 threes in just over 3 minutes of play to start this game, 4 threes in the first quarter. So they want to keep that chemistry going. It could have been a trap game for this Cleveland Cavaliers team, but they spanked the Raptors in the first quarter. It was basically over from there, 41-17 in that first quarter. Pretty disappointing for Toronto. The Cavs are so good at switching and helping at the rim. They're playing off Scotty Barnes just a touch, who I think got into a bad juju after getting a tech on the first possession, essentially. 30 seconds into this game, he just clapped. He said it was off of Evan Mobley. It's my ball, but he got a tech for that. Jack Armstrong on the Raptors broadcast, he channeled, I think, some Tommy Heinsohn. This is what Jack Armstrong said. Give me a break. This guy's too much. Talking about the referee. You're giving a guy a tech for that? Come on, man. Check your ego at the door, big fella. Ridiculous. I love Jack. And I think it got into Scotty's head a little bit. He played 11 minutes, the most of the Toronto Raptors in that first quarter. And they got spanked in every single one of those minutes. Now, Scotty had a fine game. But after winning the night before, they didn't play the same way. And this is what we're going to ask of Scotty, to be a number 1 guy with Brandon Ingram and Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett making all those bucks. So that didn't work out, but I think it did work out for Kenny Atkinson, who basically said, look, we're trying to communicate more. You work on a playoff adjustment a day. That's his quote. He stole that from Ty Lue, but that's what they're working on. And he said this team was a basic coverage team last year defensively, so they're trying everything, but they didn't want to just throw DeAndre Hunter into the mix. And the Cavs are showing why they can be a championship team on a night like this, going into the All-Star break. Could have been a poopy game, but this is a good one for them, obviously.
Yeah, here's a playoff adjustment. Tell Tristan Thompson not to be a dick at the end of games. All right? That's what we're taking away from this one, said Kenny to the locker room, I'm sure. Hey, Tristan, stop being a dick. What are you doing dunking the ball with, like, no time left? Obviously, the game is a blowout. And then it, like, kicked off, everybody being upset, Darko included, Raptors head coach. I mean,
Donovan
it was actually
Mitchell, too.
funny. Yeah, even Donovan Mitchell was like, what are you doing?
What are you doing, dude? Why? Why do you need a 2-hand dunk?
Does he have like a clause in his contract like he needs to hit a certain amount of points this season? I was wondering. It's like, damn, I better take these easy too. But that was pretty funny. But yeah,
he seems like the kind of guy that would get upset.
Of course he would.
If that would happen.
Of course he would. Yes.
Yeah. what did he do in Paris last year? He got mad.
Well, he got sort of dunked on, and there was some like trash talking, and he got pissed off because it was a young guy doing it to him. That's the weird part. It's like he's a vet. It's strange he's the one doing this. It's
Very
like usually
strange.
like a 21-year-old. You're like, okay, man, you don't need to do that. You're sort of, it's just a bad look, you know. But he's like one of the oldest guys in the league probably at this point.
Yeah. Skeets, you remember that time we went to I don't know who it was. It was a Raptors game. It was in Toronto. It was Jonas Valanciunas very early in his career.
Okay.
Game is over. He's standing at half court. Caron Butler comes up to him. He's like, hey, let me see that. Jonas hands him the ball. And Caron Butler just goes down the court and scores an easy layup. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's even Tristan doing it. It was so weird. It was funny and it was strange, but it is like, what are you doing? Because like that Donovan Mitchell reaction, like you said, Taz, even he looks perplexed. Like, why is this going on? What's going on? And then you gotta be upset if you're the Raptors and everybody booing.
Yeah.
Darko, hold me back type
Put
thing.
your dukes up.
Yeah.
Donovan's trying to be a leader on this team. And when I talk about communicating, being communicative, he is the one who's always talking about it. So to see Mr. Tristan Thompson just get a dunk for what, dude? Just to anger fans?
Homecoming game, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Homecoming
that's
game.
the other part. He's Canadian. This is very funny, too, from
When's
Brampton.
the last time Toronto was seeing a Tristan Thompson dunk with their own eyes, you know?
Yeah.
It's the first time and probably last time in a long time.
Quite possible.
Yeah.
Skeetsy, pick number 8.
Okay, still lots left on the board, but with my number 8 pick, give me Tatum scoring 32 as the Celtics beat Wemby and the Spurs 116-103. Just want to show a little more love to Tatum, who's dominating right now, 32-14 in this game, had some assists as well, and they won their third straight 7th in 8 games for the Celtics. They're missing Jaylen Brown, missing Drew Holiday. That's okay. Porzingis balled out. 29 points, 6 boards. I love when Porzingis has the inside game going, matched with the 3-point shots and those deep bombs that he can hit. And he hit one. Even Wemby was surprised he was pulling from where he pulled. So he was great. Derek White chipped in, 19 points, 9 assists, 7 boards. It's, they started the season on fire, then they had the lull, and a lot of us were like, don't worry, this is the defending champs. They took their foot off the gas. They're okay. But there was a whole lot said about them and written about them for no reason, because they really have turned it up here in the new year and sort of found their footing heading into the break. And that's without even some of the guys in the lineup. So that was just, they've been really, really strong and are like reminding people, I think, that they should still be probably the favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference.
I'm with you on the Porzingis game. To see him inside the lane.
It's
7
awesome.
shots inside the arc that he made. That's important stuff. Then that's fun to watch from him when it's not just a 3-point game. And he just saw Victor and said, yeah, I can take you, man. I can do it. I
mean, it was Harrison Barnes on him a lot, too.
Yep.
And Castle got switched on him a couple. I was like, okay, they're just way too small. Yeah.
I saw he threw like a cool pass in the lane over his shoulder like that. He called it a Jokic pass himself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, the Celtics have figured things out. They didn't even shoot very well last night, 33% from 3, but they've figured out, or they've started playing defense again. That was the big thing. We knew the shooting would turn around eventually. They're holding teams to around 100 points a game basically for the month of February. So good stuff from them as well. Anything else on this one, Skeets?
Well, yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on a KOC tweet because he was very upset with the Spurs last night. Kevin O'Connor tweeting, the Spurs lineups are a joke. After adding De'Aaron Fox, 93-year-old Chris Paul is still starting with Stephon Castle receiving even less playing time despite outperforming CP3 by a lot. This is the choice of a team that doesn't actually want to make the playoffs, a quiet tank. I was like, So I was just curious. Do you agree, disagree with KOC? Does he have a point here that this is sort of what the Spurs are doing a little bit, or what's your read on it?
Are they quiet tanking? Maybe a little bit. I think it makes sense for the Spurs to keep a high draft pick this year because they're probably not going to get very many of them in the future. So get in while you can, I suppose. But they also probably want to put as much shooting on the court as they possibly can. Basically a toss-up between Chris Paul and Stephon Castle in that respect. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little more confidence that Chris Paul will hit them when they matter. So, I don't know. This just seems like we're still trying to keep our team veteran-heavy to me, and we don't really care about the results because if they cared about the results, they would be trying to win some of these games. It just hasn't happened yet. I think Devin Vassell is more of a question mark for me. Just such a streaky player, and I wonder if he will remain in the long-term plans for the Spurs going forward because Castle seems to have a little bit higher of a ceiling than Devin Vassell. Hasn't quite turned out what the Spurs were thinking.
I think Jeremy Sohan has played enough minutes since the trade. He's played in a lot of minutes now. There's a Wizards game where he only played 19 minutes. Well, it's the Wizards. I think they're playing Chris Paul a good chunk. Yeah, we only played 24 minutes last night. I don't think it's that big of a, hey, we need to lose now. The old man doesn't have that many more games in him. Let him play. I mean, get the most out of him, and then we'll get the most out of Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle was not part of the trade. He ain't going anywhere. He's going to be a huge part of this team. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because I hear you, Trey. Like, okay, you keep the pick. I mean, okay, that's good. But sort of runs counterintuitive to what you and I were saying when they made the Fox move, and it was like, yeah, get Wemby in to play in games, right? That's what we wanted. Like, get those reps of just high stakes basketball, and it's sort of like that is slipping away from them here as the season goes on, as we hit the All-Star break. I know they were still within reach, but there's so many teams. It feels like they're going to be one of those teams on the outside looking in. So maybe they've made that calculated decision. It's all about like getting reps with Fox and Wemby and figuring out lineups. And then you just add another pick and go from there, I guess, for next season.
Yeah, I would imagine Castle's a starter by next season when they really try and win. But you're right. Spurs are definitely falling out of things here, and honestly, Wemby looked pretty gassed in this one. So we'll see how he returns after the break, where he's obviously going to be very busy as well. Another team stealth tanking is the Sixers. They're down to 6th after losing to the Nets last night. They're into their protected zone. Paul George put up a whopping 2 points. Woo! Love to see that guy show up and put the team on his back. Well, he's helping them out. Keep their pick. Anyways, my number 9 pick, final pick of the round here. I felt like an absolute sicko enjoying Pacers versus Wizards last night. A nice fourth quarter comeback from Indiana. They'd come in losers of 3 of their last 4 games, but they really turned up the ball pressure on Washington in the fourth quarter. They forced 5 turnovers, 0 for Indiana. They came back from 13 down. Obi Toppin was monster in this game. 31 points, 28 of those came through 3 quarters. He hit 6 threes, really kept them in the game through the first 3 quarters. Then Ben the Baker Mathurin, 28 points, 15 between the fourth quarter and overtime. He helped to get them over the line for the win. But I got to admit, I got a little crush on these Washington Wizards. Doesn't happen often, but they are fun to watch when they are playing well. Jordan Poole last night, 42 points, 5 assists. Went bozo mode at the end of regulation and at the end of overtime. But you throw out those 30 seconds, everything else was pretty nice. And you look at the team, and I think there's a lot of guys that currently play for the Wizards who will still be playing for the Wizards when they're actually a competitive team next. They do need a dynamic guard in the style of Jordan Poole. Like, when he's playing well, the team makes a whole bunch of sense. The ideal version of him would be great. I mean, like, you ain't getting a Steph Curry. You're probably not getting a Trae Young, but somebody along those lines who can handle the ball, shoot from outside is huge. The other thing they need is like a Jason Tatum style forward who would be the number 1 pick in this draft, Cooper Flagg. If they hit, that's awesome for the Wizards. I see the vision. That's all. Yeah,
they are playing those young guys a lot, too. So you're likely playing them because you want to keep them. To see Bub Carrington get 44 minutes beside Jordan Poole, who, yeah, you know, it's a love-hate with him. He's asking the fans, cheer for me, get up. And so he is one of those guys. He's like a wrestler out there in a way. Like, does some dumb things. But also he wants to be loved. And I think those 2 guys, along with Bilal and Keyshawn George and Alex Sarr, there's so many young guys, so they are going to lose a lot. But yeah, I think you're right in that a couple of years from now, they're probably still going to have all those guys. I think they're going to have all those guys.
Yeah, it's quite possible. Yeah. There's definitely potential upgrades they could do, but those guys all fit well together. They just need the actual stars, because I think they've got like the surrounding pieces. And honestly, Poole hasn't been bad this year. He's less of a joke. Like, it was Shaq in a pool all of last season. We haven't done that at all this year. We're talking about him wearing wizard robes and being a cat daddy. Improvement
it is.
For the Wizards. Good stuff. They said, see you later, Kuzma. We got everybody on the same page now. Good stuff for them. Any snubs from last night?
Oh, my God. There's 6 games left. I mean, go ahead, Taz, if you got one.
When I was watching games, I was watching Pelicans and the Kings, and Keon Ellis was scorching hot. I thought he was going to have a career high. That guy was on fire coming off the bench. Everything was going to him. That guy took a shot from like 4 feet behind the three-point line. He doesn't do that. But he was scorching out 7 threes for him, scoring 27 points. Not his career high. Although I don't think he scored more than 20 twice. He's got a career high of 33, but I think this is just his second game of scoring higher than 20 points, if I'm not incorrect. I think, which is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all my note. I love my Keon. And Zach LaVine playing in his player role. It's so weird to see him do that, but he is doing it. Just to be the third or fourth guy, basically. You might shoot, you might not. I mean, he's really gone down a pecking order there.
Yeah, he's just going to have to get in where he fits in. I would also say the Bucks beating the Timberwolves without Giannis and Dame gets a little mention. Bobby Portis, Kyle Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr. were the closing lineup here. More ugly stuff from Ant in the clutch.
Yeah.
He went for the 2-for-1 and took bad jumpers on both of them. I looked it up. 57% of his shots during clutch time are three-pointers. He's shooting 31%. Too many threes.
Too many.
Go to the moon, man.
He missed like 15 straight shots at one point in that game too last night.
Yeah, he was pretty cold. That's a bad loss, I think, for the Timberwolves. And the Bulls lost to the Pistons again, but only by 18.
Not as bad. And hey, look, the Nets are like in the mix for the play-in now, are they not? With how crappy
Nets.
the Sixers are? Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking good. Nets fans are mad, though. Nets fans are mad that they traded Mikal Bridges. Everybody thought, we're going to be one of the 5 worst teams in the league. We're going to get the number 1 pick. And instead, they're competitive, and they didn't trade Cam Johnson at the deadline. So, weird stuff, but a good loss, I think, for the Sixers last night.
Yeah, I will say about Anthony Edwards, he hasn't come through in clutch in his career. This is a wild stat to me that with a chance to tie the game or take the lead with 24 seconds or less left in the fourth or overtime, he's 2 of 21. Ugh. And there's been lots that have rattled in and out, and he still has faith in his three-point shot now that he's become such an incredible three-point shooter. But that's a low number for a guy. Yeah, and he's decided, I'll pull up for a 3 when he could have drove, that's for sure. But he saw Brook, I guess, and Brook is big. That's a big Brook.
That's a big Brook. Big Babylon Brook. That was a big schedule of games. We also got some news. Let's do Is This News? So worried about calling it Is This Good that I forgot there was an intro. The Pelicans announced yesterday that Herb Jones had undergone successful surgery to repair a torn rotator cuff in his shoulder. He's likely to miss the rest of the season. Tass, is this news?
I don't think it's news to anyone outside of New Orleans because I was trying to watch this game with Danielle beside me. I thought, we're watching Zion Williamson. We're watching a spectacular player, and I just wondered if she was going to get into it at all. But I think because of what has happened to New Orleans, she didn't seem that into it. And everybody outside New Orleans who haven't seen DeJounte Murray go down with injury and now Herb Jones probably just look at this team and say, wow, that's sad. And that has been the story of their season. So, yes, it's unfortunate that this guy is such a talented guy. And they have so many talented guys. I just named 3 incredibly talented players. They should be far better. But it's just a sad, sad season for them, period.
Yeah, not much more to add. I mean, I'm convinced this team is absolutely cursed.
Yes.
Someone put a hex on them there down in New Orleans. But, yeah, I mean, I remember we came into this season, I think it was this season, there was like shirts made that Herb Jones was like all defensive player worthy, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was Ingram rocking it? I don't know. Anyway, it feels like a lifetime ago. Yeah. But, yeah, it banged up all season, came back, and then banged up again. So you just shut him down, it sounds like, for the rest of the season. You know, there's a reason why their defense has plummeted, right, to like dead last in the league. They used to actually have a pretty good defense, the Pels, and Herb Jones plays a huge part of that, so he's important. Trey Murphy is going to put up some huge stats here for the next couple months. And you know, Zion's getting his too, so at least that'll be going for them if you've got him on your fantasy basketball team. Otherwise, it's just another season that you can like crumple up and throw away if you're a Pels fan.
Yeah. I guess the bright spot is Trey Murphy. This guy's been balling, like 25 a game for basically a month. Looks awesome, but yeah, only 20 games this season for Herb Jones. Last time he played was January 8th, so heal up and let's see if we can get any better for next season. New Orleans Pelicans, we shall see. The Lensanity era has begun in Los Angeles. The Lakers signed Alex Len, they waived Christian Wood, and then Len made his debut for the Lakers last night. Skeetsy. Is this news?
I can't believe how much Alex Len's name has been said over the last week or so.
He is literally insane. The definition of you can have a 15-year career if you're 7 feet tall.
Yeah, yep.
And he does nothing.
I think he had a pretty brutal game last night. I don't think the plus minus was kind to him in their loss to the Jazz in his sort of debut, I guess, there with the Lakers.
Yep.
This is not really news. I mean, I know because they have no centers it is, with only Jackson Hayes there on the Lakers roster. He gets an opportunity, but he's not that good. And he has rarely played on a winning basketball team in a very long career. I think his rookie season, he was on a good Suns team that at least won 48 games, and then he took a long time to get to the Kings, where they finally made the playoffs and were a 48-win team too. But there was a whole lot of stops in there that he's on, 20-win teams and 25-win teams and not sniffing the playoff teams. Like, he just doesn't have that much of an impact, I don't think, on a winning team. But he's a big boy. You want him to get rebounds, but he's not good. In fact, we were debating what's the Lakers' chances of winning the title this year now with Luka. I was like, I don't know, 5% maybe if it breaks right. I'm down to 1%. Because now Len's on the team. I swear to God, man. Like, I just don't see a championship team winning with Alex Len on the roster. I don't. So, it is what it is.
He has been on a lot of teams, as you said, but he is rarely used a lot. He comes off the bench.
That too.
That's for sure.
But he's on bad teams, and he was rarely used.
Yes. I think the best team he's ever played on was the Ukrainian national team when Coach Czar, Mike Fratello, was coaching them and coaching him. That's all I remember Len for, and I think we've talked about him so much. The steal my sunshine joke is, I might be dead. I don't know. I guess not, since he signed again. We've told that joke. Every time we talk about Alex Len, it's a steal my sunshine joke. We have to because Alex Len comes off the bench and does not a lot for basketball team. And
is that a Canadian reference, by the way? Do Americans even get that when we say?
Yeah, that's the only song anybody knows from Len.
So if you polled 100 Americans, do you know who Len is? Like, how many?
Depends on the age.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
35 up.
Our
probably.
age, they do. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Who had a better career, Len, the band, or Alex Len?
Really good question.
Honestly, the band, because they had a hit.
Yeah,
They had a hit.
Yeah.
We're talking about them 30 years later.
Yeah, that's a hit.
No. I do love the way that guy says it. I know. Bro, you're not British? Maybe he is. I have literally no clue. So I was looking at Alex Len's basketball reference. Honestly, I'm not going to. Next question. The NBA gave us more details about Sunday night's All-Star Tournament. We've got team names and a schedule. Kenny's Young Stars will face Chuck's Global Stars in one of the semifinals, and Shaq's OGs will face Candace Parker's Rising Stars in the other semifinal. Guys, is this news?
I can't decide. I think the 4-team idea is a fine idea, and I think guys will play harder on some possessions. I think there's no doubt about that. I am a little bit worried with all of these accessory type things we're doing here, with Kevin Hart also grabbing the mic as the MC. I'm a little bit worried that we're getting away from basketball. I'm totally fine with, obviously, Shaq and Chuck and Kenny and Candace being a part of everything as coaches. That's fine.
Are they coaches? I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't think they're on the bench.
That's a good point.
Because they just drafted the
GMs, right?
teams. Yeah, it's the assistant, like it's the coaches of the winning
Right.
teams, right?
Yes.
In both conferences, and their assistants, yeah, I think.
Oh, and their assistants.
Well, I don't know. They're teams of something.
Anyway, I guess this proves that during the draft, as you said, Skeets, that they were drafting guys with a particular country that they came from, or a particular age that they came from.
Yeah, it was rigged.
Yeah.
It was absolutely rigged by the NBA, and fair enough. Like, okay, good. Like, the guys made their picks way too quick. Somebody pointed out to me, Charles Barkley usually takes like 10 minutes to like make a decision. He's just looking at his sheet, naming the next international player. That's why he got them all. Obviously, Shaq had the OGs, and then, Kenny went with the young stars. And he kept saying, like, he can't trust the old guys in an all-star game, and for whatever his reasoning was with the international guys, same thing. They don't take it seriously.
But at first he was calling them his guys millennials.
Yeah.
And then he transferred it to, Gen Z. Gen Z. He transferred
right.
to Gen. Oh, because they're not millennials, dude. They're Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were wondering who would play who. And I think this just reconfirms, like, they wanted to set this up because they want world versus the Americans. And that's, we don't have Kenny's young stars playing Shaq's. Well, actually, hold on then. That's the opposite of what should happen. Because then you'd be more likely to get an American team versus the international team. I take it all back. They screwed this up. Because we could have the young Americans versus the old Americans, and maybe they'll be happy with that narrative as well in the finals.
Yeah.
But I did learn we have the start times apparently for these games because I clicked through on that link on NBA.com and it had like a video getting ready for the game. So the first game, Kenny's team versus Chuck's, 8:20 Eastern. And I bring this up because I thought, well, when's that next game scheduled for? It says Shaq versus Candace's Rising Stars, 9:10 Eastern. So a 50-minute difference.
Got to change the court.
Between the two games. Well, no. I'm just like, what's going to be happening between these little mini games? It ain't going to take 45 minutes to play that first game, I'll tell you that.
I heard they got Len.
It'd be amazing.
And then it should have more flavor. It's all stars.
Oh, the names?
It is the all-star game.
Yeah.
But how about David Bowie's Young Americans?
Yeah, okay. Okay.
They could have gone for something else. Shaq got the OGs. I think they could have done something.
Yeah,
I guess they are all stars.
But they're stars. Yeah, they're all stars. I did think of this, though. Who knows if we stick with this format, right? This little mini tournament format. If we do, though, Jason Tatum will end as the leader for most points scored in an All-Star game.
You're right.
He has the record. He scored 55 back in 2023. And if we're done with the actual normal 48-minute basketball game of an All-Star game, then that's his forever.
That's a great point. These guys say they never want to change the rules because the record book won't look right.
Right.
And they're just throwing it to the wind like this.
And then how are we giving an MVP in this? Are we taking into consideration the first game that got your team to the final? Or is it just the final game? Man, these are the things I think about here in space, man.
You got time.
Yeah. That's all I got.
All right, so what if a guy scores 38 points but his team loses the first game? Would he still be the MVP?
Okay, let me ask this a different way. Guy scores 30 points out of the 40 in the first game, and then goes the second game, scores 1. He ain't getting MVP. You can't give it to him. But you're the only reason he's there. It's going to be an issue.
There's I got a lot of concerns about the logistics of this now.
And there's far fewer points to score.
That's right.
They used to score to 200. Now they just have to score. Their team has to get to 80.
Yeah, you have
to get the
80 points you can hit max
in 2 games
as one guy.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody could beat Tatum's record across 2 games.
You think it'll count?
It wouldn't count to
count
me.
it the same?
Well,
Yeah.
Dear God, no.
Yeah, so
One
what you're
game,
saying
one
is
record.
we're going back to the game next year. It sure feels that way.
Oh, yeah. After this doesn't work and they don't do anything differently, yeah, we'll just go back to playing basketball, baby.
Back to basketball. That was last year.
That was last year.
Literally last year they were back to basketball. They changed it this year, and Kevin Durant's like, yeah, we should just go back to basketball.
Yeah.
Excuse me? The league announced Wednesday that Nuggets guard Julian Strawther will be replacing the Blazers' Scoot Henderson in the Rising Stars event after Scoot hurt his ankle. Is this news, Trey? Yeah, this is sad news for fans of our shorts because Scoot Henderson will no longer be playing in his 4th Rising Stars, but I think he still gets a mention probably on Basketball Reference and his Wikipedia page, so that's great.
Yeah, I was disappointed when I saw this news for you, TK. I was like, man, that's a great idea for a short. Scoot Henderson's played in 4 Rising Stars games. How is that possible? But then, yeah, he's not going to play. The other thing with this, and probably why it's not actually news, is have you been able to keep track of who the hell's actually playing in the Rising Stars game on Friday?
No. I know it's not.
I think there's like this. I think Strawther is our 6th replacement. I'm serious. They did like a whole initial 4 guys were in. I know that included like Dunn and stuff. And then Podziemski was in. I forget even who he replaced. I think Kaysen Wallace he replaced. So now this, like, good luck keeping track of who the hell is playing in these games on Friday night. I guess we just show up and see who's on the floor.
Yeah, great. Strawther joins Team M. You know who their coach is?
Yeah, Mitch Richard.
Yeah, you got it, buddy.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I thought it was Mullen. I like letters. I'm surprised you said that Scoot Henderson's previous teams or previous games that he's played on are on his pages. Are they?
They're not. They don't mention Rising Stars.
Not on Basketball Reference.
That's too bad.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I was just. I don't know.
It's because everybody makes it.
Yeah, I guess so. 6 replacements.
Yeah.
How many players were already named?
Yeah.
We got NBA players on the G League squad. Okay, it's not even on his Wikipedia page.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna physically go in and change it. It's the People's Encyclopedia. They need to know about Scoot Henderson. He'll have an asterisk. Pick'em. Last night's Pick'em game, it was Grizzlies at Clippers. Skeets, Esh, and I had LA minus 4.5 points. They won by double digits.
Yep.
That's a win for us and a loss for Tass. What do we got tonight, Tassaroni?
Yeah, I'm destined to lose. Put me in space now, or put a hat on me for my February Pick'em loss. Golden State at Houston tonight. Back-to-backs for both squads. Houston is favored by 6.5 at home against Golden State. Does it feel like a bit of a big line? Maybe slightly.
Chunky.
A little,
I thought it was
large.
a little too big.
Yeah, so a couple of us, myself and Trey, are taking Houston to win by 7 or more, while Skeets and Esh are taking those points,
Yeah.
lose by 6 or less. Why'd you take Golden State?
I mean, that's all these teams playing tonight are in a back-to-back situation. We could see some weird lineups tonight. I'm telling you.
yeah.
Like with these 10 teams that are playing, coming off of last night, before the All-Star break, add that to the element as well, or to the mix. I just thought it was. I feel like it could be close, so I'm just taking the points on this one.
Yeah,
Give me the
definitely
dubs.
hard to figure. Steve Kerr was complaining that they have to play this game, said Steph might not play, so
I bet he doesn't.
probably not.
Yeah.
They've already played 3 or 4 times with Jimmy Butler. This will maybe be their fourth game
yeah.
with Jimmy. Yeah, so they're jamming him in, but you're right, Skeets. This is a weird time to watch
Yeah.
the NBA. The last night before the All-Star break, between like trade deadline and actually wanting to travel 1, 2, 3 Cancun. Like, I mean, you saw it last night. How many guys scored 40 last night?
Yeah,
It was crazy.
yeah.
Weird times. Weird
It
times.
is weird times. I saw a headline yesterday. Our man James Beard sent this to me. On ESPN, it said, Bucks Lillard out versus Wolves to be ready for All-Star games.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And then I clicked through, because you got to do your research, so I clicked through to read it, and it basically said, yeah, he's not playing, but he is expected to participate in the NBA All-Star weekend this weekend, defending his title as a 2-time winner of the three-point
Yep.
shootout.
Wow, yeah.
Got to do that, and playing in his 9th career All-Star game. This is just a classic bracket rest. That's what it is. It is.
Priorities, man.
Yeah.
That's right. You better. He better play some defense then.
I want to be fresh for the defensive end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great show, guys.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of basketball talk there.
No doubt. Sickos only. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, we used to fact check at the end of the shows. I was slightly wrong about my Keon Ellis stat, because Lee Ellis used to be our fact checker. But my Keon Ellis incorrect statement was that he did have a career high of 33, and I said he had only got into the 20 points now once in his career. Now it is 2 times. He did it last year once. So he's had 2 20-point games and a 33-point game. And you didn't care, but I did. See you later.
Brace the day, people.